All right, we all know about warranty nightmares. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated. If your warranty process still involves sticky notes, tribal knowledge, and late night claims rejections, you're leaving money on the table. Automotive Warranty Network Incorporated brings clarity, compliance, and cash flow to your warranty game. They speak fluent OEM, and they've got your back. Hey, I want to encourage you to take a visit over to our partner, Target Automotive, at target.com. That is great until you're drowning in it. Target turns that chaos into clarity with dashboards that actually make sense. Fixed ops leaders finally get what they need: real-time, drill-down insights without the spreadsheet migraines. It's not just business intelligence, it's Target.
Welcome to Fixed Ops Mastermind. I am Kyle Morissette, and today I am joined by Kaylee Felio, who is the Sales and Marketing Director for Parts Edge. Welcome to the show, Kaylee.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I'm excited for today's conversation. I know you have so much to bring to the table. You started your career managing a Subway store, and next thing you know, you've worked yourself into Parts Edge and helped grow a great company. Can you share what first attracted you from leaving being a sandwich artist to becoming a parts maestro?
I didn't know what I was getting into, I think. And it's so crazy to think that was so long ago and I was so young. Not that I'm old now. Like I think I'm still pretty young. But just what attracted me though to stick with it and stay was there was a lot of parallels in managing a restaurant and with dealing with a franchise and going into auto and learning about dealerships and that franchise and then when it comes to the parts department and just managing an inventory, it's kind of very similar to managing an inventory at a restaurant. So I picked up a lot very quickly, I feel like, and just kind of stuck with it. I wasn't always in sales and marketing with Parts Edge. I first started in customer success support and learning the ins and outs of what we actually do for the dealerships. And then that position opened up, so I jumped on that because I always knew that sales and marketing is really what I wanted to do. That's what attracted me to it.
Awesome. So with almost a decade with them now, and you are still young, you've built a marketing and sales presence basically from the ground up. What guiding principles shaped you to develop the brand and connect with the parts managers who were unfamiliar or maybe didn't know that they needed to be guided in that direction?
Wait, go back. Sorry, what was the question?
What guiding principles shaped how you developed the brand and connected with parts managers who were unfamiliar with the vision?
Really, the guiding principles was going back to education, just helping to educate on inventory, the health, the parts department, all of that, because it just isn't something that's talked about a lot. So when I started in the role, because there was really no marketing in place. I mean, we had a website. That was pretty much it. And a lot of the growth happened from word of mouth, which is a great strategy. But you also have to scale that too. So I just went back to the core, and that was just creating education and helping put that knowledge out there, because the founders are very, very knowledgeable and they're very, very good at executing. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of took that and turned it into the brand. I don't know how else to explain it because I kind of don't. I feel like I always say I don't know what I'm doing, but everyone says I know what I'm doing.
I think when you know how to do it and you have that ability to be able to sometimes be able to put it out there and say, well, this is what I do. And it could be an idea that you went to bed and thought about in your head overnight and woke up and there it is. So it's not always planned for, right? So the creative side of you could come at any moment. Is that how you feel?
Oh yeah. Yes, creative. It always happens right before bed or at night. I do have like I don't know what it's called, like a golden hour or golden couple hours in the morning where
Mhm.
it's just like so much. And then I feel like in the afternoon it's just kind of I'm dead. Work, but it's like I'm my creative and my ideas aren't flowing. I'm just kind of executing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just constantly just thinking of new ways and then also just tracking what's working and then just repeating that is a lot of what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people don't realize too is because we are such a small company, I'm the only one doing sales and marketing, and I don't have a designated person for certain roles, which I probably should, because there's so many areas that I would love to improve on, and
Sure.
it's just you can only do so much.
Right. Yeah. One person with so many hours in a day and a family to take care of and everything else. So yeah, I get it. So I guess, one of the things that came up was you launching the Parts Girl podcast,
Mhm.
and really spotlighting our parts personnel, which I applaud you for. Far too often they just get forgotten about back in the back, and just how important they are to the overall operation for all facets of the game, right? So
Mhm.
sales needs you, service needs you, counter needs you. But so
Yeah.
um, what was the gap that you saw in the podcast space that pushed you to take on the role? And since hosting, has your perspective changed on the leadership in the industry? Has it changed at all?
Oh man, that's such a loaded question. Okay. So I started the podcast, I think it's been about five years now. So it was like people were just starting to podcast in our industry a lot more, or not as much. Like now there's everyone pretty much has a podcast. So I feel fortunate that I like kind of saw that opportunity and was like, hey, we need this. Because there was so many fixed ops podcasts and they weren't really talking about parts. And then but then what I found was when I started podcasting, parts people are so hard to get onto the podcast. Like, I mean, and then I would always make comments. I'm like, why are the parts people never on the websites? And then some people told me, like, working at the dealerships are like, because they don't want to be on
Right.
the website. So it wasn't just, you know, them not being noticed. It was them also not wanting to be on the website or
Sure.
whatever. So anyways, long story short, I did the podcast and I rebranded it actually recently. I was going through, it just evolves over time when you're podcasting, and I'm still kind of trying to navigate. And I feel like I've got a good thing that I shifted to because I've gotten more clients on. I have more founder spotlight of Parts Edge on to really talk about the things that aren't talked about a lot. And that's really why I started the Parts Girl or Parts Edge podcast is to highlight some of those things. So, um, I don't know if I answered your question. I say that a lot when I'm doing interviews, but
No, you did. What
I
I
think
I think you're right. There's a lot of parts personnel just want to be the quiet hero. They're introverted in a way where it's uncomfortable for them to put themselves out in this way. Um,
and take credit for like all the awesome things that they do. Because a lot of times, sorry to cut you off, I'm
no,
just
you're
like
good.
thinking about all the conversations I have. They're more than just parts. They get involved in like the shop efficiency. They get involved in like the service side and appointments, recon with sales. Like I feel like if you can break down the silos in the dealerships, they're so much more than just ordering parts.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they're fully responsible for keeping us going, right? So if they're not sourcing the parts, they're not figuring out how to get them here quick, they're not engaged with the technician and asking the right questions. You could have a car dead on the lift because we forgot to order a seal. And there's so much that happens with them, and um, like fixed as a whole kind of is second fiddle to the sales department. The glory comes from there, and all the hard work comes from the backside. But um, I think you're right. I think it's there's some out there that want to be in the forefront and will be involved, and there's others that are like, hey, I just come in and do a job, and I collect my paycheck, and I do what I'm supposed to do, and I keep moving. But they don't realize just how great they are and what they could do for future people looking to come into our business, to give them another avenue of employment, right? So I mean, there's such a value there for sure. No, you definitely answered the question, and I would say on the podcast side, I definitely, when Dave forced me into this decision that I didn't get to make, it was his. I won't lie, I went back and watched some of your early stuff, and as
Oh
it
God.
progressed, because
Yeah.
although I'm comfortable talking to any customer or employee or in front of my team, being in a situation where you're putting something out to the unknown, right? So, I mean, some people that are going to watch it, but you don't know who it's actually going to get to. It's like, oh man,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I come across the right way. And sometimes I'm a little too sharp. And I, and I say things that like later on, I'm like, well, I probably could have softened that up a bit, but um,
I mean, we can always change the way we say things. Like there's always a better way after we say it and you think back. Like I do that all the time. I'm like, man, I could have said that a little differently. But it's like we can't do that because the other person, what they perceive is so much different than what we think. Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't help to over. I'm the same way though. I completely overthink
yeah, I overthink
everything.
everything. I overthink
Um,
everything.
Yeah. But with the podcast, I was like, I am not going to do this as like I don't want to focus on like, oh my gosh, I have so many downloads or I have so many things. Like I wanted to really just focus on having conversations and connecting with that person I was interviewing. It wasn't about something going viral or anything like that. It was just,
Yeah.
let's just have a conversation and it'll touch at least one person. Like no matter what, one person will at least listen to this and benefit from it, hopefully. Not this, but like any of the conversation.
Well, that's our goal, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that you said that, because I don't know what the show does. I watch it here and there, and I see 4 or 5 people, and I'll text Dave, and I'll go, "Is that good?" And he's like, "No, man, it's everything's going fine." But for me, same thing. It's not about that. It's about, let's get together, to be great together, and the more people that we can get involved in it from all aspects of our business, the better off we are. So, that's just kind of the way I wanted to do it. But so far it's been fun. I've talked to people from different countries and learned how the business goes, and made great,
Yeah.
great contacts like you, and a whole bunch of others. So it's been super super fun. So pivoting just a little bit away from from the podcast and what we're doing.
Yeah.
So Parts Edge itself is helping dealerships tackle idle inventory, obsolescence, DMS efficiencies. Can you walk us through a high impact use case where these tools helped a parts team reclaim profitability if they were losing and now they're profitable, and what that meant for the overall culture and workflow of the department?
That is such a big question. No, I think that is such a hard thing, I think, to answer because what we're getting involved in a lot is efficiency. And that is translates into more profit. And a lot of the dealerships we work with are very, very profitable already. We're starting to work with them and creating like it's almost like giving them another level up because
Okay.
there's a lot of tasks and there's a lot of data involved, as you know, in managing an inventory. And then you also have your manufacturer programs. So it's so much. And then the reporting. So giving you some examples, I guess, is a lot of times when I hear from parts managers is they didn't realize how much it, how easier the information could be displayed so that they can make better decisions.
Mhm.
And then on the back end, the DMS, they really, I think in dealerships, you only use 10 to 20% of its capabilities as far as the parts. That's what I know about the parts department.
Sure.
So we increase that capability, and that's really boils down to how it's set up and maintaining that for the parts manager, because they have so many hats that they're wearing. They don't have time to do the things that they need to do in the DMS, nor should they have to, because it's like we're in 2025. This is
Right.
we're like you shouldn't be doing these this should automatically be happening for you. So I don't know that there's so many things I could go down, but I would say though, when you talk about obsolescence and idle inventory,
Mhm.
because I get this all the time and it's almost really frustrating that dealerships just want someone to buy their obsolescence. And yeah, okay, that's a great strategy, but what if you had less that you didn't have to worry about? What if you were maintaining less or zero? Like it shouldn't be like, oh, let's just sell it off, or we're stuck with all this crap. So it's can I say that?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Say
So
whatever I normally do.
okay. But that's like the most frustrating thing when people contact me. They're like, "Oh, Parts Edge buys inventory." No, we do not buy idle inventory or obsolescence. We make it so that you don't have idle. Like we'll put strategies in place if you have a problem. But the biggest thing is like maintaining that at a low level so you're not having to throw away so much year after year.
Yeah, I think I think because of the lack of knowledge on the part side in some case, or understanding, like that's real money that sits on that shelf. So it's already paid for, right? So there's no that money's already spent. You own that, and there's no way to get out of it after a certain point.
And a good point to make too, year after year, there's depreciation. So what you
Right,
bought it for and what it is worth, it's not worth. And I think that's the thing that happens when you're looking at the numbers. It's like, oh, it's still worth that. And it's like, no, it's not worth
right.
that. Yeah. So
I would say though that some dealers look at it and it's like that revolving door, right? Where I have obsolescence, it's at this percentage. I'm going to sell it off at 50 cents on the dollar, or in some cases 50 cents under what I bought it for, or 50% under what I bought it for, and we just keep repeating this process over and over again rather than correcting the problem. So
mhm.
you make it so that the problem becomes corrected and less and more controllable without having to put millions of hours of effort into it. Does that sound right?
That's absolutely right. Because that's a good point too. The amount of time you spend focusing on getting rid of obsolescence and trying like selling it or whatever strategy you use, like how much time are you actually spending when you should be spending more time on that percentage of inventory that actually makes you more money, because you're
Right.
in a way you're wasting time and you aren't really making money off of that time.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, anything for me right now that is going to take administrative things away and allow me to be with our people doing what we're good at, which is training, helping guests, training them to be better at giving the best guest experience and being hands on. Um, those are the things that make the big difference now, and we have so much more ability than we ever have to be able to put these tools in play, and if we use them properly, the expense that we put on those specific vendor partners or whatever it may be um, really is pennies on the dollar from the value side of what you get. Do you agree?
Quick break in the action. Let's talk parts. Yeah, that corner of the dealership most people don't look at until there's a fire. Parts Edge helps you clean up that mess. Smarter inventory, better margins, and no more guessing games. It's like giving your parts manager a crystal ball, except this one actually works. Spiffy. You can manage your mobile appointments, optimize your service routes, track inventory, and process payments, all with Spiffy, and you can learn more at spiffy.com. You ever wish you could inspect every car like a tech with x ray vision? UVI is like an MRI for your car. UVI doesn't miss a thing. Scans the tires, the underbody, body panels, and wheels for scuffs in seconds, giving your team instant, actionable intel without slowing down the lane. That's not the future. That's UVI, and it's live in stores today.
Oh, I completely agree. I think just to your point, the time, I just don't think that GMs or dealers think about their managers' time the same way. Like it's like, oh, this is your job. But it's like, yes, it is. But if there's so much technology to help, and I feel like we what I love about what we do, just being in the industry for so long, um it's not another tool that they have to learn how to use. It's a tool that's been around for years. The DMSs have been around. I mean, this is how you do your business.
Right.
So that's what I love about it, is it's basically using the DMSs the way that they should be used and setting it up like actually up for a parts person. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's not, they're just kind of standardized. Like when I've seen conversions or talk about the setups, it's like they're just set up from 10-15 years ago. There's no routine to change it. I mean, we've talked about this,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah. Set it, forget it, and we're not going to change it. It works for
Yeah.
your store. You figure out how to make it work for you.
And then you're figuring it out, and you're just constantly making tweaks that basically are more time consuming.
Right.
When the best quote I steal from this one parts manager, and I remember he was very hesitant because he was running or he is running a very successful operation, and his inventory was great. um and he said, he was like, I didn't realize how much time I needed, or how much time you guys could give me to be more creative with the way I'm managing my inventory, or how I could set things up to really see things or data. So I just love that quote, because I'm like, man, we gave you more time to be creative. And I think that's what parts managers want. They love data. They love looking at this stuff. I almost threw my mic.
They do.
More time.
So that kind of was rolling into one of the next questions, which was that parts managers and in a lot of cases service directors, fixed ops directors, super analytical, numbers driven. But parts managers specifically will know their numbers. I can go to a parts manager right now and say, how much money do you have? How much is the inventory? How much
Mhm.
is obsolete? How much is coming in on SOPs today? Like what do we have going out in wholesale? And they're going to know those numbers better than anybody else that's out there. So for me, my strength has always been in service. I've gotten somewhat dangerous in parts, but it's not my bread and butter. How can fixed ops leaders like myself better support and empower the parts managers, particularly through that communication training, and then obviously technology exposure would be to bring you on board. But I'm sure that there's things that we can co-op into that to make
Yeah.
it stronger. But so, what do you think that we should be looking at from 30,000 feet, where the ownership is looking, all the way down to the fixed ops director who's supposed to be supporting them directly?
Oh, your questions are so big. Okay, so I think the for a dealer GM like point of view, now I forgot the question.
How
Oh
can
man,
they better support and empower the parts manager or
thank you.
director?
Okay. Yes. That's such so there's so many ways I can go with this, because historically, I always say historically, but it's true. We've always just kind of let the parts manager do their thing, because they've done a great job. And I think to empower, you have to get involved in understanding what they're actually doing, because I think
Yeah.
that's, everyone knows, I think even the parts manager knows that the dealer typically doesn't really know what they're doing or their role. Like they
Right.
just kind of let them do their thing. So I think getting them more involved, and not in a way of like, hey, why are you doing it that way? But more of like, how can I better support you and help you? Because a lot of times the parts manager won't speak up that they actually need help. Um, when I know most of the time when I can't get a deal to move forward, it's because the parts manager can't get the approval.
Yeah.
And I don't have the relationship with the dealer or the GM. So um I don't really know how, there's so many things I want to say, but ask me more questions so I can.
so I guess be present, right? Would that be
Yeah.
like, spend time there? Um,
Yes.
you know, uh, Ask questions and don't. You may not either understand or like the answer that comes from it, because that's what happens to me. I'll go back there and I'll be like, hey, why why do you think we have this many of this one on the shelf, and why is it here, and why wouldn't it be a little closer or whatever? And there's a strategic plan in place of the way that they map out the parts department. That's just one example, right? um,
Yeah.
or hey, the special order shelf, how do we know exactly how everything's done? Is there a list, is there this, is there that? And asking these questions to figure out, because in most cases there's a reason why we've done things the way that we do it, right? So if generally, if I'm selling this part's coming with it, but if I do it in this way, I reduce steps, I reduce time away from the desk. And so I mean, ask those questions, because the greatest parts managers, it's a symphony. The counter folks are doing what they have to do. The back wholesale staff, or the people that are putting the parts away and pulling them for you. Like, all of this has to coexist together,
Yeah.
and there's one person that's directing the orchestra. And I think if you
That's a good way to
spend,
put it.
yeah, I mean, I think if you spend more time with them and show that you are invested in your investment, I mean, as an owner, or a GM or whatever, you're being paid on net. So all that money that is sitting on those shelves, that's straight expense.
Yeah.
It's not going to go away unless you sell it, and your job is to sell it for profit. So I would say, from your point of view and things that we've talked about in the past, it's just try and be present, and spend time back there.
Yeah, I would say that, and then also just finding a partner that can help translate, because that's a lot of times that I hear in the conversations is like just having that partner there to translate to the dealer, like this is actually what's going on. Because I feel like that's a lot of times dealers are like, why do I have so much in obsolescence, or why is this? It's like, well, this is the plan, or this is what's happening, and this is there's different ways to just translate it, different language. So it's a lot of times I hear we translate it a little differently so that everyone can kind of be on the same page.
Sure. So do you
Yeah.
think that that's a place where the fixed ops director kind of jumps in, because normally they have
Yes.
a more of an ear to the upper leadership, where they can translate it the way that the parts manager needs to?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it really comes. If you can create a good partnership with your fixed ops and parts and then help translate, that's a huge game changer, I think. Um, But like you said, with the process and making improvements, having the fixed ops director, asking those questions, but like not in a way of like, why are you doing it this way? You're doing it wrong, but in a way of like, you know, this is what happens on our side. This is what happens on service.
Mm-hmm.
How can we make those little improvements to be more efficient? I think everyone wants to be more efficient, have a better process. Like we all don't want to waste time. We want to do
No,
things.
no, I mean, time is the number one thing that's against all of us, right? We're all fighting it, so, yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think, I've learned over the years a lot of things from some great parts managers that you've been able to bring over to service, that, you don't realize that they're doing back there, that you can actually bring into the service side of it, and the engagement, whether it be with the technician or even a customer in a lot of cases. But there's a lot of strength in parts that gets overlooked, and a lot of people. I think for me, I've met some parts people recently, and last week I had Peter Panev from New York on the show, and he I found him because he voiced that they need to have a seat at the table. And I implore, just like I do everybody else, let's get together so we can be great together. If you're in a position where you think we can do something better and you have something to bring to the table, I don't care what position you're in the dealership or from the vendor side or, vendor partner side or whatever. If you have it, speak up and let's talk about it. And I think that's great, Kaylee. I think, you do bring that.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to speak up and share. You never know who's listening.
Yeah. So in a recent conversation, you had highlighted the pitfalls of dirty core management and DMS discrepancies. What do you find are like best practices that can be adopted to make sure that that's not happening to you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think it depends on what DMS you're on. So that was a recent, well, it's been a couple months now. Something that got brought up because I think there were some changes with PBS and dealer track and whatnot. So it was just a lot of requests and questions around that. So we just talked about it. But I don't know if I can really share exactly because everyone's a little bit different, but I would say as far as the DMS goes,
Sure.
but just having that process in place and just making sure that you're tracking those things properly, I guess is the right way to, to highlight it. Because there's different programs within the DMSs, like you can turn on dirty core tracking or whatnot I think it's in CDK. Some of the programs work really well and some of them don't. So you just have to test it and make sure. And yeah, if you have questions specifically about that, feel free to ask me because I think that's a whole podcast in itself.
I'd say that's one of my weakest things is understanding the dirty core to a clean core to which one is an expense, which one are we getting a credit, and how's it all working. That in itself, specifically with the way manufacturers make them come back, I mean, that, if you have 3 or 4 cores, that can be a whole day's worth of work.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be, right? I mean, there's got to be a faster way to do it. But do you think that from the OEM side, they could do something that's cleaner so that it doesn't take a whole day to send cores back? Specifically on, the brands Hyundai, Kia that are replacing motors every day. I mean, I've been in a couple of stores and, the reality is that these guys can have 10 or 12 in a real short time to get back, which is taking up space and an immense amount of space, depending on, how you have it set up. I mean, the last place we were at, we created a cage for him. But he could be out there for 6, 7, 8 hours just doing cores where, there's so much more that we could be doing in a next level way.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That I think it's there's manufacturers that have more, that you're dealing with. So I think that it's a matter of just having a good tracking in place because from what I'm understanding of them too, is you could send it back and if you're not tracking it, you can miss those credits and whatnot. So that's a big deal. And it just clouds up the health of your inventory, I think, if you're not tracking it properly and looking at it because cores are worth a lot.
Yeah,
So
they sure are.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, no, I mean, they can become a huge loss of money if they're not done properly. I mean, I've seen stores with $100,000 worth of core sitting there, and you're like, oh my God, how much of that can we get back? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're not actively on it, you're just going to lose. Yeah, I think.
So, going through, having a podcast, running, running the marketing and sales development and everything, there's been so much going on in your world with the kids and the family and being able to pivot on all of that, right? So being a mom and being present and being able to be effective in your career. How would you say that these experiences have, shaped your approach to leadership, empathy, and helping others be able to navigate that path
Well, I would say becoming a parent, it has taught me everything, really. It's completely changed. I mean, I wouldn't say completely changed me because I'm to the soul. I think you're always who you are,
Yeah.
but um, it just get. I think the perspective. It's completely changed that perspective. And just like there's a lot to being a parent, and I think in those, especially, I mean, the whole life of the child obviously, but like what I'm dealing with right now is the younger years, so
Yeah.
it's very, they're very dependent on me, and just trying to raise good humans, because like I'm dealing with a toddler is different than a 6-year old, and just like the emotion, there's just so much. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
But as far as like career goes and leadership, I feel like I've been super blessed to be able to be in the role that I am and still be able to be there for my children, because I know that's not the case for a lot of people, and so I feel very fortunate that I kind of get to be able to run this like it's my own business in a way.
Sure.
I'm part of those larger conversations of development, growth of the company. So it's fair. I've earned it, of course, but I would say if anyone is like on that path to looking back, I feel like this I'm rambling, but trying to really look back on what I think what I did was I set out what I really wanted, what I thought I really wanted to, because
Mhm.
you don't really know until you start going and then you evolve. And I just kept writing it down and kept thinking about it, um and really that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I can't really because now I'm kind of reached where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I'm to this point in my life where or my career where I'm like, okay, what's that next 10 years look like? What am I trying to do? And then I keep going back to, okay, what did I do to get to this? I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm helping at all because I feel like I'm rambling because I kind of don't really know what those next 10 years look like, or 5 really. But
It's kind of
um,
having a baseline of like, okay, this is how I see this week going, and then breaking it down day by day, and kind of having a
mhm,
plan, with your partner, and setting things up. I would say, I'm on the tail end of, or the tail end of at least schooling. My son just started as a freshman in college, and my daughter is a sophomore in high school. So their needs have changed. They're much more self-reliant now than they were. But I will tell you that I'm much more scared now because they go
that's what I wrote says.
without parental
Yeah.
parental control, and thank God, they call and check with me often, and I know what's going on. And I mean, they are 1,000 miles away, up in the Northeast. But for me, it was really hard being in the dealership because, at the time I was working 14-hour days. So I was 4 on, 4 off. So I was there for 4 days, 24/7. And then I was gone for 4 days where they didn't see me. I was gone before they got up, and I was back after they went to bed.
Yeah.
So I missed a lot of things, over the years, or got pictures or a video while they were there or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
I think as a whole, I think our business is starting to recognize the need for family. Um,
I do see that for sure.
I think they're being more responsive of when your children have things, finding a way to try and get you there,
Mhm.
and making sure that you have it. I still think that there's some old souls out there that, hey, this is what we do. We're open and close, and that's the responsibility, and whatever. But I think that they're more few and far between. Do you see that in the groups that you're working with or talking to now?
Yeah, absolutely. I see that. And there's just more of that understanding too across the board. Just even then when I'm talking to people and they're just understanding that I have a family and I
Yeah.
have kids and whatnot. And it's just nice to not feel that guilt that you're not. There's a lot of sacrifices I make. There's a lot of things I don't go to because I have a family. But I think the nice part about it is that guilt that you don't get from, or that pressure that like you're not doing a good job because you're not here, you're not doing those things. And what
Right.
I'm talking about is like joining the after hour conversations, or there's some conferences that I've given up that I haven't gone to because of the small kids. So like I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of there's just an understanding. I think it all kind of goes back to having the community on LinkedIn and being able to be there and
Yes.
still be connected without having to physically be there, even though the physical like being there is so much better, of course.
Yeah.
um and then of course, because I live, my husband is in a dealership, so I get to firsthand see of that as well.
Hmm.
And they've been great in understanding, like my daughter has soccer on Wednesdays and he gets to leave early, so it's like, and be there and help me, because yes, I work from home, but I also like, I cannot be with them all day long
Right.
because
Yeah.
I'm working.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meetings come up, things come up, and
Phone
um,
calls.
you know,
And then you have like your household things. You have, taking care of the house, making sure dinner, their snacks, or if they're sick. Like there's so many things that being working at home, yes, you have that flexibility, but you also have to be very, very structured so that you're working in an office basically.
yeah.
And yeah.
And
So
having those work. I mean, I think there's a misconception. I know, obviously a bunch of people that work from home now that I get to talk to frequently, and it's like, yeah, I'm not just home doing laundry and baking cookies and cleaning the house and touching my mouse every once in a while. I actually have things that I need to accomplish, and
yeah.
these roles require you to be on camera quite often, because you're on a Zoom call, you're on a Teams call, you're on this call, you're on that call, and this meeting, and um, you know. I, I envy you. I think to be honest with you, I think it's harder to work from home depending on what you're doing, specific, than it is to be in the store where you can just, for me, when I walk into a store, that's all that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I can completely
Hmm.
shut off, and everything on the outside world, and my responsibility for the next, 10, 12, 14 hours is I'm going to do my job.
Yeah.
Whereas, right now somebody could walk in and say, "Hey, I broke my nose," and you have to deal with that right now instead of
Yeah.
getting a phone call and then having to adjust to it. You get to, so I personally think that if I had to work from home, it would be miserable. Because there's too many things going on, right? So like right now, I'm praying that neither of these dogs bark, and my wife's not here to do, to take care of them. She's up north, and it's like there's out there's things that take my attention away from what I want to be doing right now. So how do you find a way to truly stay connected when you have to be dialed in?
Connected to like my
Like,
work, or like to
yeah,
the outside
like
world.
there's like, so I guess either, right? Because
Either, yeah.
if you make a commitment to your husband or the kids or something like that, and then something for work comes up, how are you able to pivot the work thing to make sure that you honor your commitment to the family, and then
Mm.
vice versa? If you have a commitment to work, how do you pivot to telling the family, "Hey, I've got to do this."
Yeah. I would say, of course, things come up, but most of the time it's being, I don't, it just goes back to being really, really organized and planning. So it's preparing, like if I need to go on a trip or there's big things happening, like big meetings, and I can't be around. It's like you just treat working at home like you're going to the office and you're working. And I've been fortunate, like I'm not taking care of kids right now. The one's at school, one's with a babysitter. So it's not all day. I have a broken up schedule, and I'm very fortunate to be flexible in that way.
Sure.
But it's just planning. If I want to join those after hour events, it's letting my husband know, like, hey, I really want to join this, and I need you to kind of be extra with the kids so I can kind of step away. I haven't been very good at that lately because I haven't obviously been joining a lot of those things. But I think I go through phases where I'm like, okay, I'm really gonna do this and I need a plan. But and then I try to join when, when I don't plan those things and it's complete chaos and I'm like, I can't even focus or listen to this. I have to leave, because the kids are so young and so loud and playful. Like
Right.
those hours before bedtime are like, those are the times to be together and eat dinner and just
100%.
kind of like crazy. So, um, but yeah, I would say planning is a big thing. Like my calendar, I have the littlest stuff on my like stuff that probably you don't really need on your calendar. I just have it so I can visually see how my day is gonna go. Because I have bus drop off, I have pick up for nap time, I have to put him down for the nap, then I have to pick up from the bus stop, and then I have my nighttime hours where I work on like marketing things, and then I have all the in between meetings. So I'm just kind of overloading you with because it is kind of chaotic.
It's but that organization allows you to be successful, and it's proven
Yeah.
that's working. And I'm sure it's a ever changing process, but you're
Yeah.
obviously navigating it in a fantastic way. It seems. I mean, every time I've talked to you, you are cool, calm, collected, and everyth's under control. And
That's so awesome because I feel like I say that all the
uh,
time.
but
I show up, I'm like, oh my God.
yeah, but it's awesome to have a good support staff from the work side and from from your husband and other support people, and then being able to give that back too, right? So
Yeah, and asking for help. I think that's the biggest thing. Getting that support system in place and just asking for help. I think delegating the things and not feeling like you have to do it all. Because
yeah,
there's times where I'm like, oh man, I wish I could just do all of this. But I'm like, no, he can do these things for me. I can ask my mom for help or I can ask the babysitter. Like, it's just kind of delegating
I love
and
it.
not
So
feeling like you have to.
so let me ask you, what do you think the best non-automotive lesson you've brought into your work in the parts world would be?
Oh my gosh. Did you tell me you were going to ask me that question? That's hard.
No, this
Ask
is
me that
all.
question again.
No, this is
Did you just think of this question?
no, it's all off the cuff. Of course, it's on the list. It's on the show sheet. You're not supposed to tell everybody how this works. I did ask, but
Well,
think
I
about.
totally forgot about that question. Okay, that's a really good question. So re-ask me it so I can actually think about a good response.
So, what is the best non-automotive lesson that you've brought into your work in the parts world?
Non-automotive lesson.
Maybe something from Subway.
I know I'm thinking like there's I guess the non-automotive lesson. I just remember I mean now because I did not prepare for this. And I don't even know if this is even valuable, but I just always remember the owner of the Subway would always say, the customers are your paycheck. Like without the customers, we don't have a business. And I don't know if that's non-automotive, but I just feel like that is so valuable because that's how I always trained the staff. And I didn't say that's so blunt to say it that way, but like in reality, it's like they are paying your paycheck. Like
100%.
you should be wanting to serve them. And yeah, a sandwich and a car are totally different, but like that they're coming there to eat lunch and they're spending their money on it. So like how would you make the sandwich if you were eating it kind of thing. So that's my non-automotive thing off the cuff because I did not prepare.
So I love that because it's something that we talk about, and honestly, I think that's just business in a whole, right? Is
Yeah.
without if you're in retail of some sort or another, the only way that you stay alive is by having customers come in and support your business. And
Mm-hmm.
so if they're not coming in, then the owner doesn't have the money to write that paycheck. So yeah, I love that. It's kind of like the golden rule, right? So treat others the way that you want to be treated. So make it the
Yeah.
way, make it the way that you would want
That's like
it.
common sense.
with
But
with a little bit of love
you're
and care.
dealing with like younger, I mean, I was part of that, but like high school kids work, you kind of have to teach them those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to catch you off guard again and ask.
Okay.
So you get one superpower, one superpower that you get to use in a parts department. What do you think it is, and how do you use it?
If I could have one superpower, what should their superpower be? Or what's the question?
Well, you get one superpower, but I guess you could give it to one of the parts managers so that they could use it. But what's a
Oh.
what's a superpower? A superpower to use in a dealership parts department, and what is it, and how do you use it? I mean, kind of part of that is one of those superpowers is parts edge. Yes.
Yeah, but I don't want to plug parts edge.
No, you're
But
good.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if it's a superpower, it's
It is a superpower. It
so is
is.
there, do you think that there's something within the superpower that you could use that would allow you to make it a even bigger superpower? So, with parts edge or something else that they would be able to maximize it even further.
I would say a superpower would be like for it's such a hard question. I'm like, why are you loading me with these questions?
Come on, man! I gave you 3 weeks. You had plenty of time.
I know you gave me time, and I'm obviously I'm not very good at preparing. I think that a superpower would be actually using like the tools, the service. I think that's the superpower. It's not completely set it and forget it. It obviously works in the background and you don't have to think that much you don't have to think to get it to work.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of times with technology and tools, it's like you have to think to make it work. I'm like repeating myself, but I think the superpower would be just to actually
use the tool for what it's meant to be made.
use the tool. Yeah. Use the resources. That's not really like a superpower. I thought you were going to ask me like actually like a superpower in the world. Like what could my superpower be? I'm like, that's easy. I could answer that.
Well, do it. What's your superpower?
What is my superpower? But what would my superpower be? Like, what would I like to have?
Yeah,
Like,
what would you like to have?
now I'm like, really, I want to answer this really good. I don't know if this is cool, but like, I would really like to, I don't know if I want to go back in time to change things. I don't want to go back in time and change things, but it would be nice to go back in time to learn a little bit better. Like, I feel like you can remember things and learn from them, but if you could actually physically go back to that time and then really learn from things,
I like that.
I don't know. That would be kind of interesting.
Or be able to go back and impose that what you've learned now into that time, maybe.
Yeah, but then that would be changing it. And
Yeah.
I don't ever want to go back and change things because that's how we learn
Right.
and that's how we grow. But I think to go back in time would be to slow down, like to go
Yeah.
back and
Yeah.
experience those moments. And you can learn something different from experiencing it by not being there, but going back.
Yeah.
That's really confusing.
No, it makes sense. So, do you think that, and hard one for you because from the AI side, do you see automation and talent development, reshaping the AI side of the world? Do you see it reshaping how parts departments are being run or will be run in the next, I don't know, few years?
Absolutely. I think we would be stupid not to look at how we can use AI in the parts department. It's all data and it's all efficient. Like, isn't that what AI does? It looks at the data and makes you more efficient. So I don't know. I think we're using it in ways to translate the data.
Yeah.
Um, and we're really looking at more ways to just make it just better. You're spending way too much time understanding what's actually going on when it could just show you and then you can
Execute.
make those changes.
Yeah. I agree. I think
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that can be done in the parts department for sure, and things that are being looked at. And I know you guys are using it for sure, and it's help. It's a help. but you're right. I think everything that we can do to provide more time for us to do
Hmm.
what we're great at, which is to, be talking to people and communicating with people and coming up with new ideas to make us better so that we give a better service to our guest.
Yeah,
I'm all in for. I think that's
absolutely.
obvious, but and I know you are too.
Yeah.
All right, so last one, and maybe you're prepared, maybe you're not. But if you could have lunch with any historical figure or anybody, if you could have lunch with anybody, inside it or outside of automotive, who would you like to have lunch with?
Well, the first person that comes to mind is not really like historical. I would love to have lunch with my dad because he's passed away. So that would be really cool to have lunch with him again. Um, I'm not sure if I would like learn a bunch of because like when you think historical person, you're like, man, it would be so cool to like, I don't know, sit down with like Buddha or something like really crazy and just like, I don't know, then like really ask them questions. But like, I don't know, it'd be really cool to have lunch with my dad because he's been gone for 87 years. I don't know, 2018, do the math. 7 years. Thank you. I had to say it out loud.
Too long. Too
Too
long.
long. Yeah. So it would be really cool to go like, because I do think though, now that I'm like talking out loud, I do think when you pass, you get a different perspective. Like you're there, you're living like your perspective isn't like when we're on Earth living,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. So I think it would be really cool to have lunch with him to get some answers and perspectives. And I actually have had some experience with him telling me in my dreams like what it's like. But I remember in that moment, but I don't remember in like the waking life. So I feel like we're really not supposed to know. So it's kind of
I think that's
this whole conversation.
no, I think that's super cool that you can feel him and still be guided um,
Yeah.
through that through that channel. Um, Man, that's awesome. I mean, I see spots where like my grandfather and then my grandmother, like the cardinal will show up, or
Mm.
I'll hear change jingling, which would be my grandfather,
That's so
and
cool.
I kind of know that they're there and that they're watching over me. Um,
Mm.
but to know that you're getting that guidance and giving you like kind of a snapshot of what's going on, even though maybe we're not supposed to have it.
Yeah.
Um, Daddy's little girl, right? It's just the way it goes. So,
Yeah.
man, what a way to close. That was,
Just bam, there you go.
yeah, I love
And
it.
I do think losing him and just to kind of like close, the losing him gave and there was a couple other people in my family close to me that I lost in that same time period. I think that really gave me that push and that perspective to really kind of like grow and to where and I feel like I really got some guidance whether you believe in it or not. I just feel like I was guided in so many ways that got me to where I am now and I feel like I'm just getting started and I didn't even feel like or realize I could even get here,
To this
if that
part.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, um, I love that. And I know, from knowing you for a little while now and getting to know you and becoming friends, that you are just getting started, right? It's you've got a long way to go and a lot of things that you're going to bring positive to this industry and to life in general. And I'm excited to be any small part of it that I can be. So I look forward to way more conversations and seeing you on the shows every once in a while at night when the time's there.
Yep.
But always that constant line of communication. Thank you for a super fun show, and I appreciate your time and everything that you bring to the table always. And we'll do this again soon, I hope.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It was really great.
Absolutely.